This is a battle in the use it and lose it tournament. I think this is the first time it's ever happened in a tournament that someone has been high enough to try Pergamon against Tylis. But if you watch the first battle, it was a very, very decisive victory by AK against Jmbusines. So he might think, alright, I'll gamble here. I will try to defeat... I'll get Pergamon out of my roster, and I will try to defeat Tylis with Pergamon. So anytime you're going to try to defeat Tylis with Pergamon, it's going to be down to cav and skirmish. So we have Tarentines, Pergamon's Noble, Hippeus, a bunch of slingers in the center. Let's see, so 4 slingers, 2 archers. Then we have more Hippeus, so total 4 Hippeus, 2 Pergamon's Noble, Galatian Spears, and in the center we have Galatian Spears and Galatian Swords. So a very skirmish heavy, very cav heavy build. Then we have Raiding Horsemen for Tylis. We have Celtic Warriors, Levy Freemen, Oathsorn, Tribals. And then on the flanks we have Raiding Horse, Levy Free, Celtic Slingers. So just judging by the setup here, this is actually the perfect setup for AK to do really well against the Tylis army, because this is a single line barbarian army, and it's about to waste the Raiding Horsemen. So yeah, the Galatian Spears get in. They're going to slaughter the Raiding Horsemen on the charge. And anytime you look across the battle, the Pergamon's Noble come in to seal the deal. Yeah, so once again, wasting the cavalry. Raiding Horsemen over here are being wasted as well. So anytime you see this type of army with mostly a single line, it's going to be very, very easy to use cavalry against that, because there's only this one line of precursors to worry about. There's no spear support in the center. The cavalry support has been mostly just wasted. And the Galatian Spears getting in and killing a few more of the Raiding Horse. So using Raiding Horse against these Galatian Spears, not an effective use of them. The Galatian Spears killing some with their precursors, but... yeah, at this point, I don't know if they've used cavalry counter-tactics yet or not, but if they use cavalry counter-tactics here, they're going to kill a lot of Raiding Horse. But it doesn't seem like they're going to be using cavalry counter-tactics. Maybe it was used previously. Getting a cheeky unit of Tarentines around the flanks. So yeah, this is going to be a really good showcase, I think, of why the multiple line... Now they're using counter-cavalry tactics, so now they're killing some Raiding Horsemen. I think this is going to be a good showcase of why the barbarian army needs to be deployed in a very specific way in order to be effective. So Celtic Warriors, Galatian Spears charging them. Very nicely done here in getting the Tarentines into the rear. And that might be enough to break the Celtic Warriors on the charge there, because then they're losing decisively and they do have morale problems. So that's how easily you can deal with the Celtic Warrior. And here come the Hippeus Lancers diagonally into the Oathsorn. We have the follow-up from the Galatian Swords, another just targeting down the Oathsorn, targeting down the Tribal Warriors. And full frontal caviolo into the Tribal Warriors. Now the follow-up from the Galatian Swords is going to be very devastating indeed. Already killing 10 Oathsorn, but they're losing a lot of men themselves. On the flanks though, all of the spear support has been taken away. And this is how poor Levy Freemen and Celtic Warriors are when they're not being supported. So the Tribal Warriors losing decisively against Galatian Swords and the Hippeus charge. Galatian Spears just holding the tribals in place. Pergamon's Noble destroying Levy Free with triple bronze experience. And once again, unsupported, these units are not dangerous. It's the combination that makes them dangerous. So here the Oathsorn getting charged in the rear by Pergamon's Noble Cavalry. It's not going to like that much. The Galatian Swords will struggle against any elite sword, of course. The Tarentines have been used to great effect here against the Celtic Slingers, now chasing them all away. Nicely done in breaking them on the flanks. So Warcry and Intimidate, so this guy isn't going to be able to use any abilities. But he's not a strategist, which is kind of strange. But the Oathsworn have taken such a beating. Pergamon is noble already at almost 200 kills here, and they might break 200 kills with this charge against the Oathsworn. They need to get out now because the Galatian swords just broke. And in the center, the slingers are getting hit by Raiding Horse, so nicely done getting the Raiding Horse into that delicious blob of skirmishers. But the shock cavalry is just doing a number on Tylis, and Tarentines with 200 kills. That's a good job. 208 kills and experience for these guys. So very nicely. Galatian Spears with 183 kills, and they're getting kills against Oathsworn. This is how effective a unit can be if it's being supported properly by shock cavalry and fighting a unit to the rear. Very, very nicely done there. So yeah, this has been I mean, I'm going to be honest and say that this would have been a lot more impressive had it been against a properly set up, properly managed Tylis army, because Pergamon has no business winning against that. But against this army, sure, Pergamon can work. Any army that has a lot of cavalry can work against a single line barbarian army. But this is also a really good example of why armies need to be set up in a very specific way. Because look at how these Oathsworn and Tribals just die horribly to cavalry. Even when they weren't even in spaghetti lines, but they were deployed in a single line across the battlefield. And that's a great way to lose as a barbarian player if you don't deploy in double or triple lines. So Pergamon, AK and Pergamon knows that he has to use his shock cavalry to its greatest effect. He knows that there isn't any good melee cavalry on the field for Tylis unless they decide to pay premium for the nobles, which just isn't worth it. So going very cheap on the infantry, going with a lot of skirmishers and going with a lot of shock cav on a flat map makes a ton of sense against Tylis. It's just that against Tylis that deploys in multiple lines, it can be very, very difficult to use effectively. But against single line Tylis is not a problem to deal with. It's very, very easy to deal with single line Tylis. And even Pergamon can do it, which was pretty cool to see here in even in the mid stages of the tournament, that someone brings Pergamon and makes it work. So good game, strength and honor.